Hey, Shalom, brothers and sisters. It's your brother Yahawashi. I want to give all honor, glory, praise to Yahawah, Yahawashi. Peace, salutation to the hopeful elect scattered abroad across the four corners of the earth, learning or teaching this gospel in truth and sincerity. Shalom. You know, my last lesson I went over love not the world. You know, because that's what a lot of people of Israel and of not of Israel too. They love this world. You know, they're doing the desires of their own belly. You know, and that's the belly. You know, that's what the belly is. That's what it's getting into. It's the desires of your own belly. You know, because that belly is getting into your desires. And if you're doing that, it's leading to your destruction, as it says in the Philippians chapter 3, what I went over. Because a lot of people are the enemies of the cross, like I said. And so we gotta be aware and take heed unto the doctrine to stay away from these type of people, you know. And because a lot of these people are anti-Hamashiach. So that's why I'm gonna get into this. You know, this is I'm gonna read down from what I brought out last week. So this is 1 John chapter 2, and I'm gonna start at verse 18. Little children, it is the last time, and as ye have heard that Antichrist shall come, even now are there many anti-Hamashiachs, whereby we know that it is the last time. So yeah, we know that we're at the last days in this captivity, because we see a lot of anti-Hamashiachs coming around. You know, verse 19, they went out from us, but they were not of us. For they had been of us, they would no doubt have continued with us. But they went out that they might be manifest that they were not all of us. Yeah, so they weren't of us, you know. So yeah, they weren't of us. So that's why it's getting into that they weren't of us. That's why they were anti-Hamashiachs. The light showed the light over the darkness. It showed that their darkness. It showed their true colors. For nothing that might have been hid that shall be revealed, like Yahawashi said. You know, that's why also in that Luke chapter 8 it tells you that what you have can be taken from you. The little that you have can be taken from you. You know, and that's what it's getting into, man. You know, because that's why they didn't continue. That's why they didn't continue with us, because they really weren't of us. You know, and like it gets into Luke chapter 1, it says that being saved from all our enemies and the ones that hated us. So we see that these are really enemies of Hamashiach, enemies of the cross, and there are enemies as well. You know, so you have to take heed unto the doctrine to understand it. You know, verse 20. But ye have an unction from the Holy One, and ye know all things. I have not written unto you because ye know not the truth, but because ye know it, and that no lie is of the truth. Yeah, because you can't go against the truth, man. You like the scriptures say, you can't go, can't be against the truth before the truth. You know, there's no lie. There's no lie in this truth. You know. And they don't. Yeah, and those people, they don't know the truth. The ones that are anti-Hamashiach, man. But we know the truth. So verse 22. Who is a liar, but he hath denied that Yahawashi is Hamashiach? He is an anti-Hamashiach and denieth the Father and the Son. Verse 23. Whosoever denieth the Son, the same hath not the Father. But he hath acknowledged the Son hath not the Father. So yeah, if you are anywhere contrary to this doctrine, you are an anti-Hamashiach, and you don't have Yahawashi with you, neither do you have Yahawah with you, because you're contrary to the doctrine and you're against the red letter and anything from the old to the new in this book, man. You know, from the epistles, from the gospels, from Acts, you're against it. You know, like I said in my last lesson, you gotta mark the vision that people that cause those offenses, man, the scandalonious, man, the stumbling block. You know, and yeah, trying to say that Deuteronomy 1:17, you denied your Deuteronomy 1:17. So you can't make it make sense. You denied it. You had your chance to have that. So don't try to flip it on me. Come on. Let's get this I'm gonna get this yeah, I'm gonna get this this is 2 John chapter 2, and I'm gonna start at verse 9. Whosoever transgresseth and abideth not in the doctrine of a Mashiach hath not Yahawah. He that abideth in the doctrine of a Mashiach, he hath both the Father and the Son. If there come any unto you and bring not the doctrine, receiveth him into your house, neither bid him Godspeed. Yeah, so if you are going contrary to the doctrine of a Mashiach, you have not Yahawah, you know, and you're not abiding in the doctrine of a Mashiach, so you have no Yahawah or Yahawashi in you, bro. You know, that's just, it's plain and simple. And we're not going to tell you Yahawah Ba'ashim Yahawashi Barakatah. We're not going to give you Godspeed. Anyone that don't have this doctrine and doesn't follow the water baptism in the name of Mashiach Yahawashi and that's contrary to the doctrine, we ain't telling you Yahawah Ba'ashim Yahawashi Barakatah. You know? Like, I could get that as well, you know, back that up. Come on. So this is Romans chapter 8 verse 9. But ye are not in the flesh, but in the spirit. If so be that the spirit of Yahawah Ba'ashim Yahawashi dwell in you. Now if any man have not the spirit of a Mashiach, he is none of his. Yeah, so if he doesn't have the spirit of a Mashiach, he's not one of us. So he doesn't have the understanding, because he doesn't have that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, so he doesn't have the spirit, you know. So we stay away from these type of people, you know, because the spirit is through belief in Yahawashi and the whole doctrine, the water baptism and everything. You can't be contrary to the doctrine. So if he's not with us, we're not telling him Yahawah Ba'ashim Yahawashi Barakatah, because he doesn't have the spirit in us, you know. Kind of want to back that up with this 1 Timothy chapter 5 in verse 22. Lay hands suddenly on no man, neither be partaker of other men's sins. Keep thyself pure. Yeah, so we want to keep ourselves pure, so we don't want to be a partaker of any other man's sins. So we're going to separate ourselves from them. You know, evil communication corrupts good manners, as the scriptures say. So we put these people out from among us, you know, the ones that seeketh vainglory and that do all these things that are not of the fruits of the Spirit, you know, that envy and strife, you know. We separate ourselves from these people, you know. Come on. So I want to get yeah, because a lot of people are blind, you know. So we're gonna get into how it goes into that. You're blinded because you're in darkness. Go into that because it goes back to the curses. is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 8. Slaki, in verse 28. So, the Lord, Yahawah, shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart, and thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt not be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. Yeah, so no man shall save thee. You know, that's going into these last days, that Hamashiach Yahawashi will not save you. You know, because you're in darkness, and this you'll be sent to the plagues, man. Because if you can't understand this doctrine, if you're contrary to the doctrine, then you're in blindness, and we separate ourselves from these people. And like I said, no man will save you, so you're gonna be sent to the plagues, man. You know, the eating your own babies, the sword, the famine, you know, the pestilence. It's all gonna come upon you. You know, that's why you gotta repent and come back to the true doctrine of Yahawah Shim Yahawashi, and stop kicking it with the pricks, because that's what you're doing at the end of the day. You know, Paul came out of that when he was kicking it with the pricks. You're not following Paul the way Paul followed, man. You know, he's a perfect example of what to follow according to Hebrews 6, man. And you're not following it. That's why Paul even said, take heed. You know, he said it multiple times. Come, like I said, you know, so like Jake, that it goes for Jake in the world that are blind, you know, and it goes for the ones teaching as well. The Jake that are teaching, because they're blind and they're not coming to the true doctrine. You're not in the light of Yahawashi. Because if you're not in the light of Yahawashi, you're not going to know that discernment of true or false doctrine. You're not going to study to show yourself approved. You're not going to divide the word of truth, or study the scriptures, or take heed to the doctrine, man. Like, let me get that, since I was saying that, you know. This is 1 Timothy chapter 4. I'm going to start at verse 14. Neglect not the gift that is in thee, which, yeah, it's all right. Neglect not the gift that is in thee, which was given thee by prophecy, with the laying on of the hands and the prosperity. You know, laying on of hands, that's in the Hebrews chapter 6. That's part of the principles. Verse 15, meditate upon these things, give thyself wholly to them, that thy profiting may appear to all. So verse 16, take heed unto thyself and unto the doctrine, continuing in them, for in doing this, thou shalt both save thyself and them that hear thee. So yeah, this is the true word of the gospel, you know, that light of the word, you know, it's the Yahawashi, you know, and that's that understanding, you know. Because it gets into that, you know. Like I want to get that in the NLT, because it explains it pretty good as well. So 1 Timothy. So this is 1 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 16 in NLT. Just for edification's sake, keep a close watch on how you live, on your teaching. Stay true to what is right for the sake of your own salvation and the salvation of those who hear you. So yeah, that's why you got to take heed to what you're doing, to the doctrine, because it's for your own salvation and for the salvation of those that hear you, man. You know, that's why in James chapter 3 it says, be not many teachers, you know. because that condemnation can come upon you, roughly paraphrasing. You know, you gotta, if you want to be a teacher, you gotta take heed into what you say. You know, so that's getting into it, man. You know, like yeah, cause you gotta like I was saying, you can't be kicking it against the pricks, going against Yahawashi, and like this verse 14. You want to verse 15. You want to meditate upon these things, you know. So like it's just getting into like you got to examine yourself. If not, your oil is going to be taken that away from you, man. You know, because you want to examine yourselves that thy profiting may appear to all, because you want this to appear to everybody. You know, let your light shine before others, like how I got into my last lesson. You know, like I said, you want to meditate upon these things. I want to back that up with the precept. You know, like Joshua 1 and 8, meditate day and night. Psalms chapter 1, it says meditate day and night as well, and don't be with the counsel of the ungodly, because we ain't supposed to be with the counsel of the ungodly, man. You know, we separate from the counsel of the ungodly when you're acting these ways. You know, this is Sirach chapter 14 and verse 20. Blessed is the man that doth meditate good things in wisdom, that reasoneth of holy things by his understanding. You know, that's what you got to be doing. Blessed is the man that meditate in good things in wisdom. That's what we want to be, in wisdom. You know, you know, that leads me to the book of Psalms. That leads me to the book of Psalms, chapter 111, and verse 10. The fear of Yahawashi is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments. His praise endureth forever. So you want to keep his commandments to get understanding. And you know, the fear of Yahawashi is the beginning of wisdom. You know, that's why you want to have that fear in Yahawashi. You know, it goes more into that with the Proverbs. Get this out real quick, so I can bear with me. Book of Proverbs, chapter 9, verse 10. The fear of Yahawashi is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding. You know, and that's what it is right there. You know, the fear of Yahawashi is the beginning of a wisdom, and the knowledge of holy is understanding. So yeah, you want to fear Yahawashi to have that beginning of wisdom. You know, because that's where all the wisdom comes in as well, through commandments, getting his understanding, and meditating and praying and fasting, and taking heed into the doctrine, like I was saying. So, I want to get that Isaiah. It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 28, and verse 5. In that day, in that day shall Yahawah of hosts be a crown of glory for the in that day shall the Lord in that day shall Yahawashi of hosts be a crown of glory for a diadem of beauty unto the residue of his people. So the residue, you know, is of his people, is talking about the elect. You know, residue, that's a small portion. You know, only a remnant is going to be saved. You know? So, continuing on. Verse 6, and for a spirit of judgment to him that sitteth in judgment, and for strength to them that turn the battle to the gate. But they also have erred through wine, and through strong drink are out of the way, and the priest of the prophet have erred through strong drink, and swallowed up the wine. They are out of the way through the drink. They err in vision. They stumble in judgment. So yeah, stumble, because you don't know where you're going, and like that wine is getting into to that doctrine, the philosophies. You're drinking of that wine and that doctrine of philosophies, which is false. You're drinking of that false doctrine, man. Just like the other nations did, man. And you're going to these worldly doctrines, and it's leading you astray. Just like how people try to say that we're in the new covenant when we're not in the new covenant, because the earnest of the promise, that's the Holy Spirit, that's that inheritance right there, that guides us into believing in Yahawashi, and that hopefully we inherit. No, it gives us that slakia. It gives us that glory, that little part of that glory, and then Yahawah, if we have the elect, then we inherit the Jeremiah 31:31 and Hebrews 8:8. We inherit those laws in our minds and our inward parts, because it tells you that they won't be teaching. They won't have to teach in those days. To the elect won't be having to teach to the elect, man, because they're gonna have those laws in their inward parts, in their in their minds. Because if you're stumbling, you're in darkness. That's why you don't know where you're going, because you're on that philosophy, man. That's why you got to examine the scriptures, because if not, you're going to be in these other philosophies and these doctrines, and you're going to teach them, and that blood's going to be on your hands. Like Philippians chapter 4 and verse 6, you shouldn't worry. Whatever you have to worry about, pray about it to Yahawashi. Roughly paraphrasing, Philippians 4 and 6, man. I want to get this. This is Isaiah chapter 60 and verse 2. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people, but Yahawashi shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. So yeah, this is the elect is in the light, and the rest are in darkness, man. That gross darkness, is what it's getting into, man, because you're in gross darkness. Without Yahawashi, you're in gross darkness, and this all goes back to the garden. That's why I want to get that Genesis chapter 3, that flaming sword, it tells you that, it goes into that, because Adam, he didn't follow Yahawashi, he forsook Yahawashi, he didn't hearken unto him. Like we said, you got to take heed and hearken unto. Taking heed and hearkening unto is action, So yeah, this is Genesis chapter 3, and I'm going to start at verse 22. And Lord God said, behold, the man has become as one of us, to know good and evil, and now lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. Therefore the Lord God sent him forth from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from whence he was taken. So he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims, and a flaming sword which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life. So yeah, that flaming sword is in all directions, north, south, east, and west. And Yahawah used a spirit to keep Adam away from the tree of life, to be able to get that knowledge back, to get back into his immortality. It's going to today, the latter days. You're not gonna get that. You're gonna be blocked from Satan unless you come into belief in Yahawashi, and he's gonna open up your wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Because that was that flaming sword a spirit to keep a man away. And that was the spirit of Satan. He was that anointing cherub to cover the earth. To blind you. From Yahawah and Yahawashi. So this is get that with the line that up with the book of Job. The book of Job, chapter 1 and verse 7. And the Lord and Yahawah said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? Then Satan answered Yahawah and said, From going to and fro in the earth and walking up and down in it. So yeah, that's going right into like that to and fro down from it. It's going into that. He always from to and fro. The dominion of him walking is from the north, south, east, and the west. And that he keeps you in darkness. Keeps you from the tree of life, the cherub that covereth, man. And you can only get your knowledge and faith in Yahawashi. He's going into that. Yeah, he's that anointed cherub that covereth. And he said, I have set thee so. So he does it through his angels, through his angels, and also through the people that are working of Satan today in this Babylon the Great, which is America. God. Let's get that. I want to get that Romans. So this is the book of Romans, chapter 11, and I'm going to start at verse 7. What then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election have obtained it, and the rest were blinded. According as it is written, Yahawashi had given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that should not see, and ears that should not hear, unto this day. And David saith, Let their table be made a snare and a trap and a stumbling block and a recompense unto them. Let their eyes be darkened, that they may not see, and bow down their back alway. So this is their lot, to be blinded. And that's quoting what David said in the Psalms chapter 69. And it's telling you that they'll be made a snare. So they're not going to, these 2/3 of our nation are not going to be able to make it back into the kingdom as a baby. Because they're going to be made a snare. They're going to be paid with that recompense. Because they're darkened. They're not ever going to come to the light of Yahawashi, so they're going to remain darkened. And that's why it gets into those Gentiles that wake up from darkness it's Israelites, man. Because it said, Yahawashi said, he will purge his people from away from their sins, man. So this is their lot. That's why you got to give heed to the red letter, man. Not darken your eyes, man. I'm gonna get this Isaiah. Line it up with that book of Isaiah, chapter 6. This is what Yahawashi quoted. Blessed is he that have ears to hear and eyes to see, because a lot of people are blinded. A lot of people are in darkness. This is Isaiah chapter 6 and verse 8. Also I heard the voice of the Lord saying, Whom shall I send, and whom will go for us? Then said I, Here am I, send me. And he said, Go and tell this people, Hear ye indeed, but understand not, and see ye indeed, but perceive not. Make the heart of this eyes people fat, and make their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes and hear with their ears and understand with their heart and convert and be healed. Yeah, so he chooses who he wants to wake up, you know, because a lot of people are blinded, you know. That's why it says, you know, that's why I read this, you know. And you know, we're more and more to the end times, because we see more and more blindness coming upon the people. You know, it's waxing worse and worse. And this is your lot, to be blind, you know. You will hear it but not understand it, you know. Come on, because you're blinded. You know, I'm gonna get that, line that up. That's 2 Peter. Well, yeah, because a lot of people are bringing in those heretics, you know, and you got to stay away from those type of people that bring those in. You know, this, since I'm right here, I'm finna get it. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 18. For first of all, when ye come together in the church, I hear that there be divisions among you, and I partly believe it. For there must be also heresies among you, that they which are approved may be manifest among you. So yeah, these heresies are to come in to so we're approved.
I'm like, man, excuse me.
Yeah, this is yeah, we're not Muslim out here. You know, this is Yahawah Yahawashi. You know, a lot of people try to bring that Muslim when I come by, but nah, that's not it. But yeah, that's why there will be divisions, because people are bringing in those heresies, man. This is all prophecy, and it all comes to pass, you know. And this is how we get approved, you know. This is the whole point of heresies, like I'm saying, to show what the true doctrine is, what is right and what is wrong, to have the light shine over it, you know, because that's what it's all going into, man. This all lines up, you know. Get that. Let me just pull it out on the phone real quick. Sometimes titles be tucked off. It's after 2 Timothy. It's after 2 Timothy. Slakia, bear with me. Yeah, because so this is Titus chapter 3, and I'm gonna start at verse 10. A man that is a heretic after the first and second admonition reject. You know, so that's what we have to do when the second time he brings it in, we reject. You know, you can't be among us. You know, that's why there's division that comes in the body, like how it said in 1 Corinthians 11. You know that leads me, because this is all. That's why you have to reject these heresies. Like in the book of Galatians, it tells you that heresies, you will be going into the lake of fire for that. You won't enter into the kingdom of Yahawah for that. So come. This is let me get that 1 Timothy chapter 4. Yeah, I'm gonna read this. 1 Timothy chapter 4. Now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits, doctrines of devils, speaking lies and hypocrisies, having their conscience seared with a hot iron. You know, and that's what a lot of our people are doing. You know, they're coming to the doctrines of devils. You know, coming to that spirit. You know, of Esau and of Satan, man. Because you got that Satan spirit on you, so you're gonna push out that doctrine. You know. That doctrine's a devil's doctrine, you know? That's what we see in these last days. And they speak hypocrisy, lies and hypocrisy, because they got the leaven of the Pharisees, which is a hypocrisy. You know? And their conscience is seared with a hot iron. They're not going to change their mind. They're seared like a hot iron. You know? Like, you know, branded with the Omega is a good example of that. You know? That's a good example of being seared with a hot iron. You see that they would do that to animals, you know? Brand them with the Omega. God. This is 2 Timothy chapter 4 in verse 2. Preach the word, be instant in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. For the time will come when they will not they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers and having itching ears, and they shall turn away their ears from the truth and shall be turned unto fables. You know, and that's what's going on. They're being turned unto fables. You know, like it says in Hebrews chapter 13 as well. You know? God. We get this other one too as well. Because that's why you gotta watch out for these false prophets that come in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they're raving wolves, like Yahawashi said. You know. This is 2 Peter. So this is 2 Peter chapter 2, and I'm going to get verse 1. But there were false prophets among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privately shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying the Lord that brought them, and bringing upon themselves swift destruction. And many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reason of whom the way of the truth shall be evil spoken of. You know, and that's what we see, that the way of the truth shall be evil spoken of. And that's what these people are doing. They're following these people that bring damnable heresies and this destruction for both of them. You know, that's why it says the blind shall lead the blind into the ditch, because that's what I'm going over, blindness, right? If you're blind, you're blindness, so the blind shall lead the blind into the ditch. You're gonna get yourself into that own destruction, man. You know, come. So we'll continue on. Let's get that. I want to get that book of 2 Corinthians. It's the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 4. I'm going to start at verse 11. I'll start at verse 10. For even that which was glorious had no glory in this respect, by reason of the glory that excelleth. For in that which is done away was glorious, much more that which remaineth is glorious. Seeing then that we have such hope, we use great plainness of speech. Yeah, because we're hoping in the things above, man. Verse 13. And not as Moses, which put a veil over his face, that the children of Israel could not steadfastly look to the end of that which is abolished. Come on, verse 14. But their minds were blinded, for until this day remaineth that the veil untaken away in the reading of the Old Testament, which veil is done away in a Mashiach. So come, that's the only way your veil is going to be taken away is in Hamashiach. You know, because you got that covering on you because you're blinded. That's what it's getting into, man. Because like even in the Old Testament, this is what was going on in the time of Moses. You know, they perceived it, the people, but not all of our people understood it because they had that veil. You know, the people of Israel. You know, because to understand in these last days is through Yahawashi, like I was saying, because they're blinded. You know, and just like people today, how they think that just because they're Israel, that they're gonna be saved. No, you're blinded, man. Even 2,000 years ago, in the ancient times, they knew they were Israel, but they had no belief in Yahawashi. So you can't use that, bro. Just like in John chapter 8, you know, another example. You have your father's the devil, and you have your father the devil because you're speaking lies, and you're contrary to the doctrine, man. You know? And yeah, like I said, you know, just like the sheep, the blind lead the blind to the ditch. Just like a sheep, if it's blind, you know, if one sheep dies, it's gonna follow. The rest of the sheep are gonna follow, and they're all gonna die, man. You know, you're not following Yahawashi how he says, "My sheep shall hear my voice." You know, like just like in a we blow the trumpet, and you don't want to hear. You don't want to prepare for the battle. You know, roughly paraphrasing, man. You know. Yeah, because if you speak not according to this law and testimony, there is no light in him, man. You know, roughly paraphrasing. There's no light in you if you're not speaking according to the law and the testimony of Yahawah Shem Yahawashi, because you're contrary to the doctrine. You know? So I'm going to continue on. You know? Verse 15. But even unto this day, when Moses is read, the veil is upon their hearts. Nevertheless, when it shall be turned to the Lord, the veil shall be taken away. So you got to believe in the gospel to get that veil taken away. You know? Yeah, so I'm gonna get this. Yeah, you got to believe in the doctrine to be into the light of Yahawah Shem Yahawashi. If you don't believe in this true doctrine, you're not in the light. You know, any leaven that you have in there, you're not in the light. It has to be all 100%, like from the old to the new. If you didn't follow in the Old Testament, if you didn't follow the law, you know, that's what would happen. You're not following the law completely. If you didn't follow one aspect of the law, just like with the doctrine in the New Testament, if you're not following the true doctrine, all of it, you're not truly following it. You have that leaven in there, you know? So I'm gonna get this 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 3. But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost, in whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Hamashiach, which is the image of God, should shine unto them. For we preach not ourselves, but Yahawashi the Lord, but Hamashiach Yahawashi the Lord, and ourselves your servants for Hamashiach's sake. So you can't, you know, it's getting into like the God of this world. That's Satan, man. So Satan, just like how I read in Genesis, going back to the garden, man. You know, he has that flaming sword to and fro from the northeast, east, west, and the south that's blocking the tree of knowledge for you to come onto that tree of life. You know, unto this day. It's going on to this day, man, until Yahawashi comes. Just like the curses, how it said, you know? And because you're blinded, man. You're hid in darkness. Satan has an advantage over you, man. You know? Because it's that sword, like I was saying. You know? And, yeah. That's why you got to have that understanding, you know, to be able to come back to Yahawashi. You know, like I brought out, you know, take heed unto this doctrine, man. Because it's no game. This ain't no joke. We're too close to the end to fall out, you know? Because, yeah, like I said, the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Hamashiach, who is the image of God, should shine unto them. Yeah, because that's the only way you're going to get this gospel, is if Hamashiach, through the light, which is the image of God, should shine unto them. Yeah, because in verse 5, we don't preach ourselves, man. We're not preaching Yahweh. You know, I'm preaching Yahawashi Mashiach, and I'm a servant. I'm a servant of Yahawashi Mashiach for your sakes. You know, if I'm a servant to preach this word for Yahawashi's sake. You know, we preach this word to you as a servant for our Mashiach's sake. You know, come on. So I'm gonna get that John. Con. Still going, we're still going. Trying to make sure real quick, Salaki. So this is John. So this is John chapter 1. We'll start from the top. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was the beginning with God. So the Word was made, you know, from Yahawah B'Shem Yahawashi. You know, from the beginning of time, you know, by Him and through Him, you know, He created all things, you know. The beginning was with Him, you know, and it's just getting into that, you know, that we both like it's that we're known. Anything that's known, you know, will be known through Him, through this word, you know. Because like in the reincarnation through Adam, you know, He created all things. So verse 3, all things were made by Him, and without Him was not anything made that was made. You know, like I was saying, all things were made by Him. You know? God. Salakia. Verse 4. In Him was life, and the life was the light of men. So yeah, the light of man is given to the elect. You know? That's the light of men that it's given to. It's not given to anyone else. So verse 5. And the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended not. Yeah, so the darkness comprehended not. The light shineth in darkness. You know, because you know, His elect are going to be the ones in the light of Yahawashi that are staying to the 100% true doctrine and enduring to the end. Yahawah Radazal, we have that number, you know, and the people, it's getting like I'm saying, like people will be blind, you know, they're not going to understand this, and they're going to stumble out the word, you know, like the seed and sword, you know, they weren't, I'll get into that as well, they weren't rooted in this word. You got to be rooted in this word, that parable, you know. Verse 7, the same came for a witness to bear witness of the light, that all men through Him might believe. Yeah, and that was John sent to bear witness of the light, you know, because he was sent to prepare the way, according to prophecy, you know, Isaiah chapter 40, in Malachi chapter 4, and also in the epistle, in the Gospels, you know, in Luke, and in you know, in John, and in Mark. God, verse 8, He was not that light, but He was sent to bear witness of that light. So yeah, like I said, He was sent to bear witness of the light. You know, John the Baptist, and also Apostle to John, if you read 1 John, you know, he knew of the light. You know, that's what it's getting into, man. Both Johns knew about this. So come verse 9, that was the true light, which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. You know, every man, you know, that's the elect man. You know, that's what that light is going to come into, man, of Israel. You know, so verse 10, He was in the world, and the world was made by Him, and the world knew Him not. Yeah, and Israel. The world was made by him and knew him not. And that world, it's going into our people that didn't believe on him, of Israel. So verse 11, he came unto his own, and his own received him not. His own received him not. The one, his own people, the ones appointed, and it's like saying, because the wicked Pharisees, and scribes and elders and chief priests, they rejected him, because they didn't have the light, they didn't have the fruits of the Spirit, man, God, yeah, continue on, verse 12, but as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on his name. Yeah, and that's the elect. The elect man is going to be the sons of God, the sons of this power, to receive this to inherit these promises, the blessings, and that's why Paul, when he died, and he got brought back down, he had that fire in him, man, because he knew that it was worth fighting for. That's why he fought the good fight of faith. And he knew he had a crown of righteousness laid up for him, man. Yeah, like the Pharisees, they don't understand this, because they're in that wickedness, man. And the people of our nation, they take a deal because they already know that they're not gonna get it, man. And also they think they're not gonna receive the promise, and they also think that they're not gonna get it on the first go around. They think they're gonna make it back into the kingdom as a baby, but we already went over that in multiple lessons, that you're not gonna make it back into the kingdom as a baby. And I also went into it right now with that Romans 11, man, because what David said in Psalm 69, that's a snare. It's gonna be a snare for them, that trap. God. Just like when the disciples, they didn't believe, Yahawashi said, if those believe, believe unto Yahawashi, because all things are possible, that's why they have to believe through faith. This is all about faith, and that's what the wicked Pharisees, scribes, and elders and chief priests didn't have. They didn't have faith, because Yahawashi, he knew that was not going to be among him from the beginning. Like in John chapter 6, he knew who wasn't going to believe. He knew who also was going to betray him, Judas, the betrayer, And if if you want to be like Judas, the end result for you is to hang yourself when you condemn yourself, because you're condemned, That's because you're condemned, man. Like I already brought out in Proverbs 17, man. You can't condemn the just and justify the wicked. It's an abomination. You won't be into the temple of the Lord, man. So, God. Verse 14, and the word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, and the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. Yeah, because Yahawashi and the Father, Yahawashi is full of grace and truth. Like in verse 17, it says, grace and truth was given, came by Yahawashi and Mashiach. So you want to stay in that grace and truth. We want to have that grace on us to Yahawah to be of the elect, And yeah, like I was saying, you gotta, if you have a problem with these scriptures, you have a problem with Yahawashi, because these scriptures are spirit and life, and you don't want to have that leaven of the Pharisees, man, that commandments of men, trying to please men, following after men, going for that vainglory and that preeminence, man, as well, and you don't want to have that hypocrisy, the leaven of the Pharisees, man. So, Khan, I'm gonna get that Psalms. Lo, he cometh in the volume of the book, because it says, and dwelt among us, and the word was made flesh and dwelt among us, because lo, he cometh in the volume of the book. That's why it was dwelt among us, his word, man. Yeah, this is Psalms. This is Psalms chapter 40 and verse 7. Then said I, lo, I come in the volume of the book, it is written to me. You know, so that's what I was getting into. That's why it says the word was dwelt among us, you know, like I just read, you know, because he cometh in the volume of the book. You know, that's why blessed is he who readeth and keepeth this prophecy, you know, and also let no man take thy crown. Because if you're following after a man and you follow his doctrine, you know, which is because Satan jumped on you to do that because it's not the true doctrine, and you're preaching out of envy and strife, not doing it out of love, like how it says in Philippians chapter 1, you know, then you're letting that man take your crown, man. You know? Because you think you're free, but you're really in bondage. Because you're not free in Yahawashi. Because it says the truth shall set you free. And you're not in the truth. You know? Because a lot of people are being taught to live on man and not on Yahawashi. You know? And they're having faith in themselves and not in Yahawashi, you know? Come on. Come on. So let me get that. That leads me to Hebrews. This is Hebrews chapter 12, starting verse 14. Follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see the Lord. Looking diligently, lest any man fail of the grace of God, lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, and thereby many be defiled. So yeah, that root of bitterness is going to trouble you and make you defiled, man. You know, because of that root of bitterness, that's not that you bear that fruit, and then it's going to lead to more. It's going to bear more fruit unto wickedness fruit, that wicked root, man. You know, because you're producing that bitterness fruit, man, and then that goes into that bitter gall in wormwood. That's why I'm gonna line that up, you know, with Deuteronomy, and that's why you want to guard your heart. You know, this is Proverbs. Let me get this real quick. Yeah, because you want to guard your heart. Proverbs 4 verse 23, keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. For out of it are the issues of life. So yeah, you want to guard your mind with diligence, man. You know, so that's why you want to be diligent, man. You know, you got to be examining yourself, man. For out of it are the issues of life, like guarding your heart. You know, and part of guarding your heart is staying out of that bitterness, man. You know, let's be equal to one another and have that brotherly love. You know, come on, let the brotherly love continue. Come on, so I want to line that up. With that Deuteronomy. So this is a Deuteronomy. Salaki is this is Deuteronomy. Salaki, bear with me. Let me bring it out real quick. So yes, Deuteronomy chapter 29 and verse 18. Lest there should be among you man or woman or family or tribe whose heart turneth away this day from Yahawashi our power, and go and serve gods of these nations, lest there should be among you a root that beareth gall and wormwood. So that gall and wormwood goes into the bitterness, like in Hebrews chapter 12, and that's from the old to the new. You know, that gall, you know, if you look into it in the blue letter, it tells you that gall, it's that bitterness. And that wormwood too, this lines up with it in the Greek lexicon, you know? And that's why you got to know things from the old to the new to understand it, because you don't want to have that root of bitterness on you, man. You know, because those are those bitter things right there. You know, you got to have this from the old to the new. So I want to bring out a precept to back that up. This is Matthew chapter 13 in verse 52. Then said he unto them, therefore every scribe which is instructed unto the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is an householder, which bringeth forth out of his treasure things new and old. So yeah, the New and the Old Testament. That's why you gotta know things from the new to the old, man. You know, and just like how Paul, like I said, how he had that fire, you gotta be able to sell all your treasures that you have, you know, for that field, man. And that's for the kingdom, man. That was another likened the kingdom. The kingdom is likened unto in Matthew 13, man. Because that's how precious the kingdom is, man. You know? I'm gonna line that up with the Salaki, bear with me. He's right here. No, it's not here. Alright, I'm gonna get this real quick. This is 2 Peter. Pull this one out. Second Peter. Oh wait, I mean 1 Peter, Salakia. Yeah, Salakia, bear with me. I'm gonna pull that out real quick. Oh yeah, Khan. I was thinking 2 Peter, but it's Timothy. Salakia, I had the chapter wrong. It's all good. I was on point though. Yeah, so this is a yeah, because it's gonna wax worse and worse. That's why I'm gonna bring this out. This is 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 13. But evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. So yeah, like that's all that deception that these false teachers are doing and bringing upon you, and they're deceiving themselves as well, you know. Yeah, like that's what I wanted to line that up too with the book of Galatians chapter 6. I'm gonna bring it out right here since it's faster. It's Salakia. Sometimes it takes hard for me to get to the pages. So yeah, be not deceived. Yahawah B'Hashem Yahawashi is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, he shall also reap it. So yeah, what you sow is what you're gonna reap. If you reap darkness, you know, You're gonna, if you sow darkness, you're gonna reap darkness, man. You're gonna be in blindness. You sow darkness, you're gonna reap blindness. You know? Because you're deceiving yourself as well. Let me bring out that Revelation. Line it up to Revelation chapter 12. The book of Revelation chapter 12 and verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. You know, that goes into the garden, man. You know, the cherubims, like I was saying. You know, because Satan is keeping you in darkness. You know, that flaming sword. You know, and yeah, the only way you're gonna come back to Yahawashi is if you repent and come out of that. You know. Come. So I'm gonna line that up with Deuteronomy chapter 4. Let me get out this Deuteronomy chapter 4. Behold, I have taught you statutes, judgments, even as the Yahawah B'Hashem Yahawashi, my power commanded me, that ye should do so in the land, whether ye go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. You know, and Khan, you know, that's getting into that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding and keeping the commandments, like I was going into earlier. You know, that's how you're gonna get this wisdom. You know, that's how you stay in the light of Yahawashi. You know, Khan. So I want to get this John chapter 6 to just show an example that you know, that blindness, it also goes into that blindness. It also goes into you, you know, being hardened. You know, so this is an example from the disciples. You know, Mark chapter 6 and verse 48. And he saw them toiling and rowing, for the wind was contrary unto them, and about fourth watch of the night he cometh unto them, walking upon the sea, and would have passed by them. But when they saw him walking upon the sea, they supposed it had been a spirit, and cried out, for they all saw him and were troubled. And immediately he talked with them and said unto them, be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid. And that's what we need to be of, man. Be of good cheer and be not afraid. Because we don't follow men, man. We follow Yahawah B'Hashem Yahawashi. We only fear Yahawah B'Hashem Yahawashi. And he went up unto them into the ship, and the wind ceased, and they were sore amazed in themselves beyond the measure, and wondered. Verse 52, for they considered not the miracle of the loaves, for their heart was hardened. Yeah, so when it goes into that heart was hardened, when you go into the Hebrew on that, on the blue letter, it tells you that his heart was blinded as well. So it goes into, that's how an example of how the disciples were blinded. You know, and that's why Yahawashi told them, abide in the light, so you don't so you don't abide into darkness. Believe on me, and you know, to not abide in darkness. You know, roughly paraphrasing. You know, and Khan. You know, like I was saying, you know, and that yeah, like that verse, you know, it tells you, Yeah, that verse 52. Yeah, it tells you in the NLT that they believe not. You know, it's like that they didn't believe. So it's just going into that no faith. They were blinded. It was hand in hand with the darkness. And this is when Yahawashi was walking on water as well. What I was reading. Like verse 48. Khan. Yeah. So like I was saying, it's important to be into the fruits of the Spirit and have that faith, because like Yahawashi said in Matthew as well in this account, he said, "Oh ye, why do you have little faith?" "Oh ye little faith," because this is all about faith, Yeah. And that's why, if I'm not mistaken, it was Peter. That's why he fell in the water, because he didn't have faith, because he was walking on water as well. And that's why this is all about faith. Just because a strong wind came, he fell in the water. His faith dropped. And just because strong attacks come at us, we can't have our faith drop. We got to learn from this as a written aforetime for our learning. That leads me to Matthew chapter 4 and verse 4. But he answered and said, "It is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of Yahawashi." So that's why you want to walk in this word, man. And the light's the word, man. Yahawashi's the light, man. And he's the word. Like I went into that John chapter 1. And this is from this whole book is from the old to the new, man. God. The Apocrypha is the Old Testament. This is the whole book. This is the straight path. We want to stay on that straight and narrow. Make our calling and election sure. Yahawah Radazah. Fighting the good fight of faith daily. Dying daily. Taking up and bearing up our cross daily. Because this is not a burden. His yoke is easy and his burden is light. If that burden's too heavy on these people, they're going to fall out. And they're not going to stay on the true doctrine of Yahweh B'Shem Yahawashi. Because he's the way and the truth and the life. Like how the scriptures say. No man can come to the Father but by me. So you can't get to Yahawah unless you go through Yahawashi. So that leads me to Deuteronomy. Let me get out to Deuteronomy chapter 30. Yes, Deuteronomy. Chapter 30, verse 19. And I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live, that thou mayest love the Lord Yahawah thy power, and that thou mayest obey his voice, that thou mayest cleave unto him, for he is thy life and thy length of thy days, and thou mayest dwell in the land which Yahawah sware unto thy fathers, to Abraham and to Isaac and to Jacob, to give to them. So you want to obey his voice and cleave unto him. Cleaving unto him, that's grabbing, that's holding on to him and not letting go. And that's how you're going to be able to receive the promises. Come, because we want to receive those promises of this new covenant. We want to be able to be of the elect, to get these spiritual bodies and get the laws implanted in our hearts and inward parts. So we got to cleave unto him and obey his voice. That thou and thy seed may live. This is all for Israel, man. That seed, man. This is what it's getting into, man. Come on. So I'm gonna get into this John. This is John chapter 8 and verse 12. Then spake Yahawashi again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. So yeah, you want to follow Yahawashi to have the light. You know, Yahawashi is the light. You know, and you, like Peter, he told you that there's steps to follow. We have these examples to follow. Yahawashi, to follow his steps. You know, 1 Peter chapter 2. You know, and that's how we stay in the light. You know, you gotta follow the example. Yeah, cause you know, like I was saying, you know, like you don't want to be in darkness, you know, cause you know, like that's not the way to be. Yahawashi, he wasn't ever in darkness, and that's why we can't be in it either. We can't ever be in it as well, like Yahawashi. That's why you must repent and come out of it, if you're in it. So this is John chapter 9 and verse 4. I must work the works of him that sent me, while it is day, and the night cometh when no man can work. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. Yeah, because in the nighttime, that's a perfect example. In the night, you shouldn't be preaching this word, you know, because you know, I am in the light of the world, you know. So while it is day, you know, that's why he says the works of him that sent me while it is day. We do the works while it is daytime, you know, like how that song, you know, the freaks come out at night, man. That's where the drunkards come out, like in the 1 Thessalonians, you know. It tells you the drunkards are in the night, roughly paraphrasing. And that's why we don't want to be like that, man. Because if you're doing that, you're in the world, man. You're having the lust of the world. That's why through the Spirit I went into that last week, you know. Come on, let me get that real quick. For edification's sake, I'll get that, you know, because brothers should know that they shouldn't be preaching at nighttime, or even let alone at a club, man. So this is 1 Thessalonians. It's lucky I'm in there a second. Yeah, you can. So this is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, and I'm going to start at verse 4. But brethren are not in... this goes perfectly in with I'm going in light and darkness, you know. I went into this chapter as well, thief in the night, you know. Yahawah is all, you check that lesson out. This is verse 4. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that the day should overtake you as a thief. But ye, it's like in verse 5, ye are the children of light and the children of day. We are not of the night, nor of darkness. Yeah, Con, because this is not going to take us as a thief, because we're not in darkness. These other people, it's going to take them as a thief, you know, because we're being circumspect. We're watching, and you know, we're being vigilant, you know, and we're being watchmen of the housemen of Israel, you know, like as it says, as we're supposed to be. And because it said we're children of the day, we are not of the night nor of darkness. You know, therefore let us not sleep as others do, but let us watch and be sober. Because a lot of people are in deep sleep. Like I was saying, we got to watch and be sober. For they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night. You know, that's what it's getting into. So why would you want to preach to people in nighttime? They're all going to be drunk. You know, that's why I said the freaks come out at night, man. Because when you get drunk, that's when you're a freak, bruh. Your true emotions come out. And like I said in my last lesson, I suffer a woman not to teach, man, because she's a weaker vessel. She's gonna be emotional, man, regardless if she's drinking or not. You know, you're not supposed to drink though. It says be sober, drink moderately if you drink. And yeah, like I said, she's gonna get confounded if she come out here and teach on the block. She'll get emotional and leave and run off, start crying, you know, because she's a weaker vessel, man. God. Verse 8, let us who are of day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, for an helmet, hope of salvation. Yeah, because we want to have that faith and that hope of salvation. That's what we're hoping for. We hope Yahawashi comes and saves us from our enemies, like in Luke chapter 1, in Psalms 83, he saw Edom, the so-called white man, these other nations, who are our enemies, man. Come. So now, now I'll get into the blind man, you know. This is John chapter 9. I'm going to start at 10. Therefore said they unto him, how were thine eyes open? He answered and said, a man that is called Yahawashi made clay and anointed my eyes, and said unto me, go to the pool of Siloam and wash. And I went and washed, and I received sight. Then said they unto him, where is he? He said, I know not. And they brought to the Pharisees him that aforetime was blind. And it was the Sabbath day when Yahawashi made the clay and opened his eyes. Then again the Pharisees asked him, how had he received his sight? And he said unto them, he put clay upon my eyes, I washed and do see. Therefore said some of the Pharisees, this man is not of God, because he keepeth not the Sabbath day. Others said, how can a man that is a sinner do such miracles? And there was and there wasn't a division among them. Because there was a division, because some didn't believe and some did. You know, because he was doing miracles, so you know that he was of the son of Yahawah, man. And they were in blindness, they didn't want to wake up. You know, they had Satan on them, man. So I'm gonna go down to verse 34. Then answered and said unto him, thou wast altogether born in sins, and thou teach us? And they cast him out. So yeah, this is like what I just read. You know, Yahawashi, how he healed the blind man, and the scribes and the Pharisees didn't believe, and they casted him out. You know, because they had no faith. So yeah, I'm gonna continue on. Verse 35. Yahawashi heard that they had cast him out, and when he found him, he said unto him, dost thou believe on the Son of Yahawah? And he answered and said, who is he, Lord, that I might believe on him? And Yahawashi said unto him, thou hast both seen him, and it is he that talketh with thee. So come. Yeah, so spiritually, you know, if we abide in this book and we hear it and perceive it, you know, if we're in the right way, you know, that's what it's getting into. You know, because we gotta abide in Him, and you know, yes, we've seen it spiritually. We are both in Him spiritually through the understanding. You know, He's spiritually in us. You know, because He gave us that understanding. So I'm gonna continue on. And he said, Lord, I believe. And he worshipped him. So you can't. And Yahawashi said, for judgment I come into this world, that they which see not might see, and that they which see might be blind. Yeah, because that's what it's getting into. They're going to be blind. So those they are physically and spiritually blinded. You know, and that goes on today, because there's Pharisees, modern day Pharisees today on this world, man. And these people are blinded. They got that Satan, man. That's that, like I said, that flaming sword, man. That blocker, that spiritual force, man. You know. And God, continue on. And some of the Pharisees which were with him heard these words and said unto him, are we blind also? Yahawashi said to him, if you were blind, ye should have no sin. But now we see, but now ye say, we see, therefore your sin remaineth. So yeah, Khan. So just like how the blind man, he believed in Yahawashi, so he received sight. You know, it's just like as the Pharisees, you know, they seen him and didn't believe, so they were blinded. You know, it's just like it's like the opposite. You know, so Khan. That's why you know that like going into that, you know, you got to examine these scriptures, man. You know, that to know if you're in the true doctrine or not, man. You know, because that's just like getting into like our people are in darkness, you know, because you know like they plotted against him, man. It all tied into that, you know, like they were more and more because they were already going off, but the more and more darkness they were in, you know, like how they plotted against Yahawashi and they set him up to be crucified, man. You know, those elders and, you know, chief priests and scribes, man. You know, God, you know, like because yeah, like that blood is still on their hands to this day and on their children, you know, to what they did to Yahawashi, you know. And it like I said before in my previous lessons before, and you know, like those Israelites that knew that they were a part of that, you know, what they did to Yahawashi, being a partaker of that crucifixion to Yahawashi, you know, they were pricked in their hearts, you know, and they, when Peter broke it down to him, what do we do? You know, repent and be baptized in the name of Mashiach Yahawashi for remission of sins, because that's the way, you know, and you got to follow the example. Yahawashi, and Paul's a great example to follow, man. You know, he got baptized, then he got into the doctrine, and he got strengthened, you know, by eating of that spiritual food, you know, and then boom, he was preaching, you know. And that goes for anyone that wants to teach, you know. You got to go from the milk to get to that spiritual food, to take hold of the meat, and then go teach, man. God. Yeah, now I'm going to get John chapter 11 and verse 9. And Yahawashi answered, are there not 12 hours in the day? If any man walk in the day, he stumbleth not, because he see the light of this world. But if a man walk in the night, he stumbleth, because there is no light in him. Yeah, another cut right there, not to be preaching at nighttime, you know. And it's just like, just getting into like, if you're not in the light, you're gonna stumble. Like what this whole lesson was about, man. You know, because if you're not in the light, you're gonna stumble. You know, that's why Yahawashi said that, man. Because if any man walk in the day, he stumbleth in the light, because he see the light of this world, because he's in the light of the Yahawashi. You know. But if a man walk in night, he stumbleth because there's no light in him. You know, that's why you don't want to be in darkness, man. You don't want to walk in the night, man. That's why I preach during the day, you know. I don't want to be around that temptation. Once the nighttime hits, I'm out of there. You know? So this is Jeremiah chapter 13 and verse 16. Give glory to Yahawah B'Shem Yahawashi, your power, before he caused darkness before your feet, and stumble upon the dark mountains. And while ye look for light, he turn it into the shadow of death, and make it gross darkness. But if he will not hear it, my soul shall weep in secret places for your pride, and mine eyes shall weep sore and run down with tears, because Yahweh's flock is carried away captive. So yeah, that's why you want to stay in the, you know, stay in the, like I was just saying, you know, that's why you want to stay in the light, you know, unless you be taken into that darkness, you know, because that's a perfect example right there, you know. I want to get in the NLT for edification's sake. You know, this is Jeremiah chapter 13 and verse 16. Give glory to Yahawah, your power, before it is too late. You know, acknowledge him before he brings darkness upon you, causing you to stumble and fall on the dark mountains. For then when you look for light, you will find the only terrible darkness. So yeah, all you're gonna find is darkness. When you look for Yahawah Shem Yahawashi, when you're looking for the light, you're gonna look for darkness. You know, just like the 5 wise and the not the 5 wise. They were looking for oil, and they couldn't. They said, "Give me some of yours," and they're not gonna get that, because you got to seek your own salvation with fear and trembling as well. And yeah, they're just, you're not gonna get it, man. Because going into this, man, because you're stumbling and falling. You're in darkness. They were in darkness in that area, man. Because that's why they couldn't see. Verse 17, and if you still refuse to listen, I will weep alone because of your pride. My eyes will overflow with tears because Yahweh's flock will be led away into exile. So yeah, because of your pride, and because you refuse to listen, this came upon you. So that's why we need to. It's very important that we need to come to Yahawah Shem Yahawashi and into the light. Because we're in the last days, and our salvation is nearer than we believe. So we need to cast our cares upon Yahawah Shem Yahawashi, because He cares for us. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up. Because brothers out here in captivity, we still got obligations we have to do and stuff. And that was pretty a long lesson. Yahweh brought us all through the Spirit. It was edifying. So this is Matthew 26:6. Now when Yahawashi was in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his poured it on his head as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. When Yahawashi understood it, he said unto them, why trouble ye the woman? For she hath wrought a good work upon me. For ye have the poor always with you, but me ye have not always. For in that she hath poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this that this woman had done be told for a memorial of her. And with that, I want to give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahawah Shem Yahawashi. Peace, salutation to the hopeful elect, scattered abroad across the 4 corners of the earth, learning or teaching this gospel in truth and sincerity. Shalom. What happened? All right, man. Hey, the water. Have a good one. Yep. Hey, man. Hey, that could have been an angel speaking. He told me good word. Like I said, Hebrews. Hebrews chapter 13. Yeah, strangers, angels. That's why. We entertain strangers, because they could be angels. Roughly paraphrasing. Hey. With that, I want to give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahawah Shem Yahawashi. Peace, salutation to the hopeful elect, scattered abroad across the 4 corners of the earth, learning and teaching His gospel in truth and sincerity. Shalom.